Alright, welcome back everybody. Sorry about that. Thank you Ozone for interfering with the live stream. Anyway, the work's done. I'm back up. So I'll just finish off the live stream and work out how we're going to do this Ozone 8 giveaway. So alright, here we were. So we were looking at Neutron 2, Ozone 8, just new features, my thoughts on them all. The recap, Neutron 2. Great channel strip. Love the width feature they've added. Let's have a look at it. The width, I like the panning feature they've added to it. EQ sounds better. I don't know if they've changed the EQ or anything, but to me it doesn't smear as much as before. And I like the integration now, the plugin integration with like some of the sort of tonal balance plugin. And the other one is called, what is it called? Mixed balance. Yeah, great. All right, so let's get back on with this. I'm just gonna back quickly. Various features. That's without the EQ. Recap what I did. Took a little dip out at 200ish. It was a little bit kind of muddy, a little bit chunky there, and so I wanted to give a little bit of separation between the top part of the kick and the bass, and also lift the snare gently. So when I did that cut at 200, which is band 3 here, or 192, it helped lift the snare a little bit, just a dB. I then wanted to reinforce the low end just a little bit, because of where this cut is, it just dropped the bass just a tiny little bit. So I reinforced the bass on band 2, which was on the frequency below, so like it was the octave below. So basically I did a little cut at like 200, so I've given a boost around 100, or it's like 191, so it's like, you know, 92 or whatever, something like that. A little, just a half dB or 0.3, just to reinforce the low end. I've then added a little bit of 600, just 600 to 800, 900 area can add a little bit of warmth to the track, and just kind of, you know, do nice things to that kind of mid area. And then the last thing that I've done is 20 Baxendale high shelf, 20 hertz, 1.5. So the Baxendale starts really high, but if you notice how low down the filter, that EQ shelf is going still lifting all the way down to like 5k. So it kind of catches a whole area and just does it really smoothly, and I like those ones. So I've done it a lot higher. 18 might be nice as well. So we'll try the. Let's try that. Just catching the hats, a little bit of kind of high mid area. Let's take the EQ out. Now EQ in. Just a little bit more sparkle, a little bit more life. It's not massive. Close that Q a little bit on that. That's better. A little bit more sparkle, a little bit more life. I am gonna actually just add one other plugin other than Ozone. I'm just gonna add Span. Do find the Ozone meters, just not right. I do switch this to master, so it just gives me like a lower, sort of not as detailed, so it kind of just gives me low, mid and high, and I can kind of see where the troughs are. Try and correct that. high and mid area. Half K, 3K areas. Do a little lift. Just catches the front of the snare. It's hardly nothing, but it just lifts that snare just a tiny little bit. Right, so I'm going to try a bit of multi-band compression first of all, just a little bit of glue. Just want to try and glue the track together. Just try like a single band. I'm going to try it 3 bands. So when I use multi-band compression, it's low ratios. I set the low band to about 160, 100 to 160. High band around 3K. Just 3 bands. I tend to set the attack and release time the same on all 3 bands. So I set the attack 100, let all the transients through. I set the release at 100 as well. It's kind of, you know, medium-ish kind of release, sort of. I'm letting all the transients through, keeping the release the same. And I do kind of treat, even though it's multi-band, and then I can adjust what I want to do, I kind of think of it still as like single band, hence why I use the attack and release times the same on the multi-band. I don't use like faster attack times and release times trying to catch transients and stuff. I just find this glues the track better. If I want to like catch more of the top end, like this band, the 3K band, if I want to use it more like to tame like a you know, a harsh hat or something like that, I would you know, drop the attack down to really like a really fast attack time. Same release, so that, you know, you can see the threshold here. Just in and out quick, just trying to capture it all. But when I'm just trying to glue things together, this is how I work. Everyone works differently. You know, they might not have the attack so high, might have a different release, but this is just, you know, kind of where I've kind of come to over the years of generally using it. That's without. That's with. It's just tighter. Just a tiny little bit. Taking off like dB max on the low end, dB max in the mid area, and that top end. Half an dB. That's with. That's without. Just makes the drums a little bit punchier. The kicks a little bit punchier. It's a little bit snappier. And if you want, you can just, you know, use the gain, make up gain down here to bring a little bit back what you've taken away. Just lifted the snare a little bit, glued down the hats a little bit, glued that low end. It was just, you know, at certain points it was like just jumping out a little bit, so it's just made it all a little bit tighter. Right, let's just add another, we'll bypass that, let's add another dynamics, and let's have a look at look at this as if we were going to do a single band. So this is just a single band compressor now. just swapped it to a little bit of mid side compression, and I'm just doing a little bit of compression to the sides. Not sure if the whole track is the whole track. It still sounds kind of punchy and stuff. Doesn't need much, but I'm just wondering whether the sides are just poking out just a little bit. So I've had a little bit of compression to the sides. Also, just to see a little bit of makeup gain onto the mids as well. Probably a little bit too much on the mids. Just add like half dB to the mid and compressing the sides just a tad. What did I just do? I just deleted it. What a mong. Alright, anyway, I know what I want to do. Alright, so what we're going to do is single band. Mid side 1:6 ratio, mid side. No gain reduction on the mid. 0.5 dB just to lift it a bit, and then on the sides take off like. Compress it down and make it feel a bit tighter. That's without. That's with. Just like a little bit more punch to it. Out again. It's just tighter. So I've lifted the mids up. So the mono information I've just given a little lift, half dB, and then I've done the tops half dB, 0.6, something like that, of compression to the side information, so the stereo information, and I'm just tucking that in and gluing that into the track. So this is the side information. This is what I'm compressing. I'm just pulling it into the track to make it a bit tighter. What made me decide to do that? That's just experience. I'm just hearing stuff into the side information. What I would say with mid side, a lot goes a long way, but a mid side can also fuck a good mix, or can fuck any mix, but a good mix, you know. Messing around with mid side information can really do it. So don't do anything extreme with it. I'm like it's always subtle, just always using it subtly, and then try it. I mean, the only way for me, I was just hearing stuff in the sides that I just thought was, let's just tuck that in a little bit, make it all a little bit tighter. But and the sort of the mono information, the mid stuff was all sort of there. So it was just, that's just experience and hearing it. So the only thing I can say is just to try it out. But let's listen to the side information again. That's without. That's with. It's just tiny. But it's definitely giving it more punch. You can just feel like it's tighter and it's a little bit more punchy. There's a single band. We'll leave that as it is. Give me a sec. Let's just see if anyone's making any comment. Yeah, it's sounding better, Gary. Gary Lindsay made a comment. Very cool. It is an improvement. It's all subtle. There's nothing more than like half dB boosting anywhere on that and gentle compression, but it definitely is sounding better. All right, let's move on. So no ozone. With ozone. I don't know how much you can hear on the stream, but what I hear is a lift in the mid-range, just a gentle lift up, a tighter low end, and then there's just a little bit more sparkle in the top end. I'm trying not to do loads to it. It's like it's just subtle bits and tweaks and balances to make it sound better. And then the compression of the sides. So let's just have another listen again, with and without the whole lot of the processing. So this is without. A little bit tighter, a bit warmer in that low mids. And as I said, look at the EQ. 0.2, 0.3, just dB cut there, half dB boost there. If for a start, if you're doing your own mastering, you're mastering at home. What I suggest is kind of you mix, do your mix, and then master in a separate project. Try not to like mix into a limiter. If you do mix into a limiter and then you take it off to send it to someone mastering, make sure that you're going to check your levels as well, because like the limiter will change all your mix levels and your mix will probably fall apart when you take it off. Then it comes over and shit's all over the place. So that's a tip there. But for me, mastering in a separate project is like the way to go. And just do it in a different day, brand new project. Just go in. If you're finding yourself having to add lots of plugins and having to add more than a couple of dB in certain frequencies, then go back to the mix. It's just if it's just too much. If you need to add more than like 2 dB, it's silly. So go back to the mix and fix it all. At the mastering stage, you should be just final little tweaks and little stuff like that. All right, so let's just carry on. I want to finish this off quickly because I've got some work to do. Let's I will try out this let's do a vintage compressor. just trying it out, see if the vintage compressor might be nice for, you know, something with slow attack, letting the transients through, fast release, just catching a few little peaks, seeing if there's some, seeing a little bit of character that you can catch, a little bit of mojo, a little bit of movement. I'm not sure if I like that. We'll just try. Let's have a look. Try some vintage tape. I've moved the vintage tape to the front before any EQ and dynamics and stuff. Probably sits better there. Hold off. I don't know whether to put that at the beginning or at the end. Maybe let's see if there's any width. that 2.5K area just a little bit wider. Where's the, I didn't see the undo history button. Where was the undo history? Where was it? If you delete the quest like before, just hit the little undo history button. It's a lifesaver. What's that? Where's the undo history? Oh yeah, the little arrow there. Undo the last action. Didn't know that. Should have known that. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Thanks for that one, Dominic. Right, so that's without. I mean, it's sounding better. It's a little bit more weighty, a little bit tighter, lifting up. I'll just show you what I would do with some limiting. Try not to bring up all the volume in one go. What's easier? You carrying a load of bricks on your own, or mates helping you. Limiting's exactly the same. Spread the load. Try not to do it all in one go. Normally, I might, if I was in the box, I probably might try and clip something first of all. But we just stick with the theme of using Ozone. So don't need to go super loud at all. There's a new mode. All right, let me tell you a couple of things. My favorite IRC mode is IRC 3 for dance music, for big stuff with big bass lines, etc., etc. I think it's the one that you can get the most volume out of and still keep the integrity of the track. IRC 4 is nice, but I do find it does some weirdness when you start getting a bit, when you trying to get volume and it's trying to get loud like we do in a lot of dance music. So I tend to use IRC4. IRC3 is low latency. It's the brand new mode that they've added to it. So I'm sure that's for people that want to use this during mixing and have it on the master channel or on your bus channels, group channels, etc., etc. This can be a bit of a CPU hog when you start mounting stuff up. So the low latency mode is the new IRC that they've put in there, but I would tend to just use IRC3. loud enough for something like this. Well, there you go. You know, I would tend to use one limiter there and use like a kind of slower attack and release times on here, the character, and then on the second one, which will be the one set in the ceiling, which is maximizer, I use a faster one, faster kind of release time there, and set the ceiling. Can always set to true peak as well, which is helping to stop inner sample peaking. And there you go. We can probably get much louder. There's probably no need to with this sort of thing, but. Alright, there you go. Just a quick master. Sounds a little bit tighter, a little bit brighter. There's also some work on the channels as well that we did in the first video. I kind of a little bit of Neutron EQ on the bass line and on the kick, making a little bit of room, tighten them up. Probably add a little bit of width on the what they call the melody stem here. Made that little organ sound a little bit wider. There we go. Go. Just made a little bit punchier, a little bit brighter. As I said, like, you know, go back to the mix, fix things in the mix. If you need to be adding lots of EQ and stuff like that in mastering, and it's your own track, then you need to go back to the mix and fix it. yeah, we can, you know, correct things in mastering and stereo mastering stems and do anything like that. But don't, you know, as I said, if I need to add more than a couple of dB anywhere, then I'll normally go back to the person and get them to fix stuff. You know, everything was in pretty good shape anyway, and also like I've already done some work to these stems prior to this as well, sort of getting them into shape as well. So this is just sort of like a final little cleanup. Alright, so round it off. Do I like the new updates? Yes, I do. Neutron, great Trano strip. Would I use it? Yes, I would. Track assistance, well, you know, it's better than it was. Still not going to be the answer, but yeah, it gets you in a ballpark area sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Loving the width control and the pan, etc. Loving the visual mixer and the way it communicates between the plugins, and also the tonal balance control and the way that you can open up the Neutron plugins and also Ozone plugins in the track. Ozone 8. Well, it was always good. It always sounded good, and it was always a firm favorite. Don't use a lot of these plugins, you know, every day because I use hardware and I've got other plugins, etc. But could I, you know, master a track with just this? No problem. Does it sound good? Yeah. Shit, yeah. Do I prefer analog? Yeah, still do. But if you know, if I'm on the road or anything else like that, I would definitely be just using Ozone. 100%. Is it worth buying? Yep. Is it worth upgrading? Yeah. Like we had an offer from the crossfader.com.au for the Aussie members, or I think it's for anyone actually, but you know, there was deals a few weeks ago where you could have bought like the older versions quite cheap, and then the upgrade was cheaper. So if you jumped on that, yes, the update is worth it. The low latency mode, the master assistant, I can see where they're going with it, but yeah, it's still never like mastering assistants. You know, these AI are just not good enough yet. I mean, they don't get the emotional music or they understand like the feeling that we get when we're listening to big bangers in a club and the way the bass line works and all that kind of stuff. That relationship. So you do tend to find them, you know, correcting things in a mix that you know, frequency wise when they're analyzing it looks to be wrong, but like actually connect with the listeners and, you know, work on sound systems and stuff. So, you know, they do tend to kind of probably just find things that errors in things that work, you know, and take things out that they shouldn't do. You still can't beat a good pair of ears and practice, but it's a good update. Super impressed. We got one copy of Ozone 8 to give away. What I'm gonna do is I will go through who's tuned in, who's commented, and we'll just pick someone at random in the group. Basically, I think it's just the fairest way. You could say who makes the best comments and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll just basically do a random selection of group members and you know, put them in a hat or something, people that are listening. So I'll do that today. And big thank you to crossfader.com.au for and Chris Arnott, Nick Arnott, not Chris Arnott, bloody him annoying. Nick Arnott from crossfader.com.au for giving us the prize to give away. Yeah, look, I'm in it. It's just, you can load up reference tracks. It's just, I kind of forgot about this. It's just, I don't know. Let me just add something, anything. All right, this is a mix. So you can add WAVs, MP3s, and all that. Then you can move this into sections and play just the sections. Select all, and then you can just select each section and play, and then you can kind of do the mastering assistant. So let's just do that. It's not going to work because they're different tracks. Reference. So there we go. Next. So it's analyzing the track. We'll lose all the shit that's on there. Analyzing the track. Maybe the section. Cancel. Let's just make sure. Reference. Select all. Mastering assistant. Reference track. Next. You're welcome, Colin. Sorry, like all your comments are coming up, you know, late. So we streaming? Can you hear me? Waiting for you to play your waiting for me to play audio. There you go. Sorry about that. I was too busy looking at the computer screen. There we go. So analysing audio, setting equaliser to adjust spectral balance. So what that's done, that's analysed to a track that was already mastered with a completely different style. But it's worked out matching the level. It's giving us some dynamic EQ. Huge boost and a big that's what it did before, that big huge cut on the low end. But what I could see it useful for is analyzing, you know, if you want to, you've got a track that you like and you can just analyze it and see what's going on, and then you can kind of get an idea what your track is lacking, which is what the idea of it is. But I wouldn't rely on it to do the whole thing. It would just give me an idea of the kind of frequency bands that are missing, etc., etc. That's, you know, generally referencing there. Now, I mean, this is a completely different track. I like the idea where you can just do in these sections and analyze, you know, different sections, break it down. Yeah, cool. All right, yeah, buy it. So if you got 7 or an older one, update it. It's a good update. It's probably it's a better update than 6 to 7, I think. You can see where they're going with it all. See what they're trying to do. Sound wise, I did think in my tests last week, I did think that the maximizer in 8 sounded a little bit different to the maximizer in 7. I don't know if that's me just tripping out. That's like, you know, problem. So I don't know. But yeah, it was very subtle but tighter and punchier with Ozone. Exactly. That's from Democracy and the YouTube channel. Yeah, I didn't do a lot. It was a little bit tighter, a little bit punchier. You know, sit here and get a little bit more detailed in doing it all. But kind of that's my suggestion for, like, you know, mastering your own music, is you shouldn't be doing a lot. Don't need to be doing a lot. Go back to the mix and fix it all. It's literally just little subtle things. All right. That's it. The power going off kind of interfered with my day a fair bit, so gonna call it a day. These will be in the group as well. Thanks very much for tuning in. I will do the giveaway this afternoon, and we'll just we'll pick someone, a random group member or something. I'll work it out. Well, it's just going to be like a random pick, so yeah, we're not going to do a in that sense. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. The videos will be up on YouTube afterwards. Be in the group as well, and I'll do another stream next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good week. Stay safe. Ciao.